You use a strong password, approve multi-factor authentication, and reach your account. Minutes later, someone on another device appears to be you, without knowing the password and without answering the MFA prompt. The login was not cracked. The trusted session created after login was stolen or replayed. In this video, we will explain what browser cookies and session tokens do, how attackers target them at a safe conceptual level, why MFA may not be asked again, and how users, defenders, and application teams can prevent, detect, and contain session hijacking. We will not provide token stealing code or operational attack steps. Effective session security explainers begin with the surprising outcome: MFA was used, yet the account was still accessed, then separate login from the session created afterward. They reveal one trust boundary at a time and finish with detection and response. We adapt only that general pacing, clarity, and diagram-first teaching. This script, analogy, example, artwork, and scene composition are original to CipherVibe. Think of an online session as a temporary wristband at an event. Security checks your ticket and identity at the entrance. After that, staff usually inspect the wristband instead of repeating the full entrance check at every room. A session token plays that role. If someone can convincingly present a copied wristband while it is still valid, a checkpoint may treat that person as already authenticated. MFA protects the entrance. Session security protects what happens after it. A web application needs continuity across many requests. After authentication, it may create server-side session state and place an unpredictable identifier in a secure cookie. On later requests, the browser sends that cookie and the server uses it to find the authenticated session. Some systems use signed tokens that carry claims. Others use access tokens to call APIs and refresh artifacts to obtain new access. Product names and lifetimes differ, but the central question is similar. What proof does the service accept after login? Many session artifacts behave as bearer credentials. The service validates the artifact, not the physical person presenting it. That makes confidentiality, lifetime, storage, scope, and revocation critical. Not every browser cookie is sensitive. Cookies also remember language, consent, or preferences. The danger is an authentication or session token that permits account actions. Never place such values in URLs, screenshots, support tickets, analytics, or logs. The legitimate flow starts with the browser reaching the real service over HTTPS. The user authenticates, possibly with phishing-resistant MFA. The service issues a session proof with rules such as expiration, domain and path scope, and cookie attributes. The browser returns it on eligible requests. The application validates the session and applies the user's permissions. Secure helps prevent a cookie from traveling over unencrypted HTTP. HTTP only prevents ordinary page JavaScript from directly reading that cookie, which reduces some cross-site scripting theft paths. Same site can reduce certain cross-site request risks. These controls are valuable, but none makes a compromised endpoint safe. Malware with sufficient access may target browser data, memory, or active sessions. The server also matters. It controls absolute and idle timeouts, rotation, revocation, step-up authentication, and whether a token can be replayed from a different device or context. At a high level, attackers obtain session artifacts through several paths. Infostealer malware may collect browser data or active authentication material from a compromised endpoint. Adversary-in-the-middle phishing can relay a real sign-in and capture the session created after the victim completes authentication. A vulnerable application may expose tokens through cross-site scripting, insecure browser storage, URLs, refer data, debug output, or logs. A malicious or overprivileged browser extension can expand the attack surface. We do not need exploitation steps to understand the defense. Endpoint theft requires device hardening and rapid containment. Relay-resistant authentication and protected sessions address phishing and replay. Application exposure requires secure coding, content security controls, careful storage, and token hygiene. Extension risk requires governance and least privilege. The important distinction is theft versus misuse. Preventing collection is one layer. Detecting a valid token suddenly used in an implausible context is another. The phrase MFA bypass can be misleading. In many session theft incidents, the attacker does not defeat the cryptography of MFA. The victim completes the real or relayed authentication, the service creates a trusted session, and the attacker reuses that downstream proof. If the service accepts the bearer token from any presenter and no risk signal triggers reauthentication, the attacker may enter without seeing the login page. The available actions depend on token scope, application permissions, session age, device policy, and whether sensitive operations require fresh authentication. Phishing-resistant authentication still matters because it prevents many credential and relay attacks. It does not automatically bind every later application session to the original device. Emerging sender-constrained and device-bound session approaches aim to make a copied artifact less useful by requiring cryptographic proof from the original device. Availability and guarantees vary, so treat these as architecture choices, not universal switches. Prevention starts with managed and patched endpoints, limited extensions, phishing-resistant authentication, secure application design, and tokens kept out of JavaScript-accessible storage where practical. HTTP-only, secure, and appropriate same-site settings help protect cookie-based sessions. Constraining limits impact, short-lived access, reasonable idle and absolute timeouts, narrow audience and scope, least privilege, rotation after authentication or privilege change, and step-up authentication for high-risk actions. Detection compares current activity with the established session. Useful signals can include device and browser changes, impossible travel, unfamiliar networks, unusual resource access, concurrent use, rapid privilege changes, new inbox rules, mass downloads, or enrollment of new credentials. IP changes alone are noisy because legitimate users roam and share networks. Response requires server-side revocation, not merely deleting a local cookie. Terminate active sessions, revoke applicable refresh capability, disable malicious persistence, secure the endpoint, rotate exposed credentials, and investigate what the session accessed or changed. Consider fictional Meridian Services. An employee signs in from a managed laptop with a passkey. Later, the identity platform sees the same session family used from a new browser profile and an unfamiliar network, followed by rapid mailbox searches and an attempt to add a forwarding rule. No single signal proves theft. The risk engine combines the context change, unusual sequence, and sensitive action. It pauses the forwarding rule request and requires fresh phishing-resistant authentication. The remote presenter cannot satisfy the device-bound challenge, so access is denied and the security team receives an alert. Responders revoke the user's active sessions and refresh capability, isolate and examine the laptop, review mailbox and cloud audit logs, remove unauthorized changes, check whether new credentials or applications were enrolled, and notify the user. They preserve timestamps and token identifiers only in safely hashed or non-secret form. The example is memorable because the token looked valid. Behavior and context exposed that the trust no longer made sense. Common mistakes include assuming MFA protects every request, storing authentication tokens in local storage where any script in the origin can read them, putting tokens in URLs, logging raw cookies, bearer tokens, or refresh artifacts, and leaving sessions valid after password reset, device loss, offboarding, or privilege changes. Do not treat HTTP only as protection from all cross-site scripting. It can prevent direct cookie reads, but injected code may still perform actions through the victim's authenticated browser. Do not bind rigidly to IP address without considering mobile users, corporate proxies, privacy services, and network changes. Use multiple signals and proportional responses. Do not make every anomaly an irreversible lockout. Low-risk changes may need monitoring. Sensitive actions may need step-up authentication. Clear hostile reuse may justify immediate revocation. Ensure users can view and remotely terminate active sessions. Protect support and recovery workflows because attackers may use them to restore access after defenders revoke the stolen session. Here is the session security checklist. For users, keep browsers and devices updated, install extensions sparingly, avoid unknown software, use phishing-resistant authentication where available, review active sessions, and report unexpected account changes quickly. If compromise is suspected, use a known clean device to revoke sessions and secure recovery channels. For application teams, use mature session frameworks, HTTPS everywhere, strong unpredictable identifiers, secure cookie attributes, safe storage, rotation, idle and absolute expiration, least privilege tokens. Fresh authentication for sensitive actions, server-side revocation, and no secrets in URLs or logs. For defenders, correlate identity, endpoint, application, and audit telemetry. Look for context shifts and harmful behavior, not one fragile indicator. Revoke active and renewable session material, remove persistence, contain the device, and determine what changed. Remember the event wristband. A strong entrance check matters, but staff also need wristbands that are hard to copy, short-lived, limited to the right areas, monitored for impossible use, and easy to cancel. Passwords and MFA protect authentication. Session security protects the trust authentication creates. Copyright 2026 CipherVibe. All rights reserved.